You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
Welcome to the Hot Options Report, your premier source for insight into the fast-moving options market. Each day, we'll track down the products that are dominating the options chains and impacting your trading account, from Nvidia to VIX, and everything in between. If it's lighting up the options tape, then you'll find it on the Hot Options Report.
All right, everybody, that music means we are back. It is time for your Hot Options Report to kick off your trading week on Monday, January 26th. My name, of course, Mark Longo from the Options Insider Radio Network, your go-to source for all of your favorite options podcasts. Over a dozen shows coming at you. Make sure you're checking them out wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And, of course, if you want to go above and beyond, you want to get exclusives like the panel we did at the 100th anniversary of the STAC conference, as well, looking back on the history of options, as well as, of course, the upcoming Vol Deathmatch 2.0, options oddities, exclusive live streams, giveaways, all sorts of fun. TheOptionsInsider.com/pro is the place to go as we go on into our list and see, was it a hot day, a banger day out there in the options market? The answer was decidedly no. 378,000 contracts is what it cost you to break into the top 10. That gets you to Amazon. Amazon closing 238.42 off 74 cents today. Again, putting up 378,000 contracts for the number 10 spot. The hot option in Amazon today, 22,000 of the 245s. A pretty distant call. Average price for these, $1.42. Can we get there by the end of the week? That is the question if you're buying these, listeners, as we keep climbing to number 9, a name that was climbing today. This is CoreWeave. Ticker symbol CRWV, closing $98.31, up $5.33, or about 5.75%. So a good day for CoreWeave out there today, putting up 380,000 contracts for the number 9 spot, the hot option in CoreWeave today. 30,000 of the 110s expiring at the end of this week. Average price for these about $275. So 110, you might be saying, that's wild, that's crazy town. Stock did get north of 108 in the initial blush on their big investment from Nvidia, obviously retreating about 10 handles off that level. So if you bought these for around that average price, you're looking for a nice turnaround before the Friday close, listeners, as we keep climbing up to number 8, another name that had a wild day today. This is USA Rare Earth Inc., ticker symbol USAR. Closing 26.72, up $1.95, or nearly 8% today, putting up 401,000 contracts for the number 8 spot, the hot option in USA Rare Earth. The latest beneficiary of some government investment out there. It's 21,000 of the Feb 25 puts. We were talking about these on our Option Block show earlier today. They traded a total of 21,000 times today, listeners, these Feb 25 puts, for an average price of right around $2.60. We couldn't make up our minds if we liked those and wanted to sell them. Thought we put it out to you folks, listeners, and right now our audience pretty evenly split, 45.5%. Want to buy those puts, 54.5%. Say, give me that $2.60 sold to you. Where do you fall, listeners, on USAR as we keep climbing to number 7? It's Netflix, $85.70, off another 42 cents today, putting up 436,000 contracts for the number 7 spot, the hot option in Netflix today. 38,000 of the 89 calls. Average price for these, 39 cents. This was opening paper, so maybe someone taking another flyer on an end-of-week pop in Netflix. Hasn't been working out so far this year. Maybe this week will be the turnaround. Was it the turnaround for number 6, our old pal AMD? The answer was no. Selling off today, listeners. Closing 251 and a quarter, off almost $8.50 or 3.25%. Putting up 446,000 contracts for the number 6 spot out there today, listeners. The hot option in AMD 17,000 of the two doubles, the 255s. Average price for these, $5.84. And before you go crazy saying that's insane, the high today was $258.29. So these were $3.29 in the money at one point. Perhaps that changes your view on these. If you're buying these around that average price, nearly $6, you obviously need AMD to turn around. If you sold these, you might have to sweat a little bit, but you could pocket a nice, clean, nearly $6. As we keep climbing to the number 5 spot, listeners, name we haven't talked about in a little while. This is GameStop. GameStop closing $24 and a penny, up $1.02 or about 4.5%, putting up 769,000 contracts for the number 5 spot out there today, listeners. And the hot option in our old pal GameStop, 90,000. So a hot day in GameStop. Of the 25 calls, average price for these, 55 cents. So if you think GameStop can continue its run through the end of this week, then maybe you like these. Otherwise, you might like selling them and pocketing 55 cents as we keep climbing to number 4, listeners. Was this name climbing? The answer was no. It's been a rough week and change for our number 4 out here. It's Intel, closing today $42.49, off another $2.60 or about 5.75%, putting up 929,000 contracts. For the number 4 spot, the hot option in Intel today, 45,000 of the appropriately enough 45s expiring this week. Average price for these, 50 cents. Once again, opening paper. Looks like paper might have sold these, in which case might have a little bit of overriding action. We'll keep an eye on these as we keep climbing to number 3. Was number 3 climbing? The answer, resoundingly yes. Apple, it's been a rough year for Apple, and it's still a rough year. They're down substantially this year, but they got a lot back today, closing $255.41, up $7.37 or about 3%, putting up 944,000 contracts. For the number 3 spot out there today, and the hot option in Apple, 75,000 of the 285s. Now, not expiring this week, though. Expiring in May. May 285s. Average price for these, $5.05. So that's a heck of a run. Another 30 handles to the upside by May expiration. Can they get there, listeners? And, of course, another $5 on top of that to pay off your options. It's quite a run. Can Apple get there, listeners? Obviously, if you're buying these, you want to kick things off with a blockbuster earnings announcement this week. Can they do it? Guess we'll see. You're buying some duration, but you need a heck of a move in Apple by May expiration. Can we get there? We shall see. Not this week. We'll come back to these a little bit further down the road as we keep climbing to the number 2 spot, listeners. Was our number 2 name climbing today? The answer was no. Tesla's been all over the place. We've been talking 420 puts, 430 puts, most recently on Friday, 450 calls. Today, Tesla retreating off that level, selling off $13.86 to close 435.20, putting up 1.02 million contracts for the number 2 spot out there today. So kind of a light day by Tesla standards. The hot option, nearly 55,000 of the 440s. So dialing it back a little bit, not quite as optimistic as the 450s. We're going to the 440s this time. Average price for these, $12.84. Looks like paper might have been overriding some of these. So again, you're going to sweat if you sell anything in Tesla. But on the flip side, you might have a chance to keep some or all of nearly $13 on these if Tesla keeps selling off in this case, listeners. So we'll keep an eye on the 440s in Tesla as we move our gaze to the number 1 spot on our countdown for today. Yep, it's Nvidia, closing 186.47, off $1.20 or about 2/3%, putting up 1.25 million contracts. So again, very light volume. We've easily seen Tesla 2 to 3x that on an average day in the past. So very light volume out there today. The hot option on a light volume day in Nvidia, 131,000 of the 190s. Average price for these, $2.34. This was opening flow. Now, before you say that's crazy, the stock got as high as a little bit north of 189 early on in the session. So these obviously were looking a lot better then if you were buying them. Looks like paper might have been selling these, though, in which case maybe they took advantage of that pop to potentially pocket $2.34. Are you a buyer or a seller at that level, listeners? We'll see how these work out later on in the week. And that is going to do it for your hot options report for Monday, January 26th. Remember, check out our friends over there at the Hot Options Report CoreWeave.com, the place to go to kick the tires and light the fires. I was just talking with Nick at that conference last week. He's got a lot of cool stuff planned for that platform. Trust me, you can't beat the data. You can't beat the price. TheHotOptionsReport.com, the place to go to kick the tires and light the fires. And we'll see you back here tomorrow, another episode of the Hot Options Report. Stay safe out there, everybody.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.